own show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy, ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real important live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards, a hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Welcome back, everybody, to the 6 Rings Kane Show. Joined here by Larry Bluestein, Danny Gillette, and Mr. Vish. Listen, we are back at it as we get ready for. I know it's going to be. I know this is going to be a touchy way to say it already. I know people are going to have their ideas and their opinions, but what's probably the biggest game of the year so far for the Miami Hurricanes, and we'll obviously get into it. But before that, we put a belt to ass to the University of South Florida this past weekend as Miami just blew right by them, pun intended, 49-12 this past weekend, and that's including a 1 hour and 40-minute delay, weather delay that we will get into also. So Miami is now 3-0. Headed into the UF game this weekend. College game day is coming in, which I thought was a little weird, but also we'll talk a little bit about that because there's some other ranked games out there, but it's Miami, Florida, and the SEC is trying to get some money. I get it. Let's talk about our sponsors, though, first. First and foremost, we will talk about 305-800 Pain. After an accident, every minute counts. With one call to 305-800 Pain, you get immediate access to trusted doctors and attorneys who guide you step by step. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, they are the brand you can trust. Much like 5 Reasons Canes, 305-800 Pain is focused on the local community of Miami-Dade County and South Florida. They'll handle all your accident needs, including car accidents, personal injuries, and related legal matters. So after an accident, be sure to call 305-800 Pain. The number is the brand. 305-800 Pain. Después de un accidente, cada minuto cuenta. Con una llamada 305-800 Pain, ustedes pueden obtener acceso inmediatamente a doctores y abogados para ayudar con todo el proceso. Con una clasificación de A+ del Better Business Bureau, pueden confiar en ellos. 305-800 Pain tiene mucho en común con 5 Reasons Canes. Están enfocados en la comunidad local de Miami-Dade County y en Florida del Sur. Ellos pueden ayudar con todo después de un accidente, incluyendo accidente de carro, lesiones personales y otras cosas legales relacionadas. Entonces, después de un accidente, llama 305-800 Pain. El número es la marca, 305-800 Pain. By the way, they are really good at what they do, man. Make sure you call my guys over there. Danny's obviously a close personal friend of mine. Danny, over at 305-800 Pain will take care of all your needs. So make sure you guys check them out. But as I mentioned before, real quick, as we recap the South Florida game this past weekend, Miami beats USF 49-12, convincingly, handily. No issues with them at all, as apparently Melissa told a lot of us, Vish, the minute they scored the first touchdown, the minute they threw it to Josh Moore, you turned to her and said, this game's over. That's it. And so, and you were right? I mean, it was total domination from that Miami team, offensively and defensively. I think there's a lot to talk about with this game moving forward into that Florida game. What stood out to you, Vish? I'll go to you first. What stood out to you the most in this game this past weekend?
Yeah, it's the physicality of the team. They're just physically dominant. It was a mismatch. It was men against boys right from the beginning. That touchdown was just a manifestation of that. But you could see from the first snap, USF went backwards and never got forward. And that was basically it on both sides of the ball. And especially, I mean, obviously shows up big time on offense where Carson Beck can, build a campfire, warm his hands up in the pocket, and then throw a pass. And there's like gaping holes to run through. But defensively too, actually, if you look at USF, they called a lot. It's hard to say this, but like they're getting eaten up. But a lot of their plays they were calling were sound formationally. They were doing a good job of kind of moving our players out of position. And now we got the matchup we're looking for. And then Ruben Bain collapses 4 guys on the offensive line. It just doesn't matter. And just the physicality with which the Canes played with, as well as just how superior athletically they were, that just leapt off right from the start. And this is, look, was USF probably a little overrated? Yeah, but there's a big difference. This is what we said last year. There's a big difference between a top 20 team and a top 3 or 4 team, which is what the Canes are. And you saw that. Like, they were just physically overmatched. A team like USF can beat teams in that 10 to 15, 15 to 20 range. What the Canes have been hovering around the last few years, where they lose games like that sometimes. When you get up to that next level, you don't lose games like that, and they're not competitive, and that's what we saw, just physical domination. If you dominate both lines of scrimmage, you tend to win, and that's what happened there.
Yeah, I think that obviously we should, like, this game last year gave us a hard time, right? They kind of exposed their defense. They ran a lot of plays where the defense was lost and broke down, and the offense kind of sputtered at the beginning, and then we kind of broke away towards the second half. But this is a game, as you mentioned, Vish, that Miami struggles with. And I'll go to you, Blue. There was no struggle with Miami at all whatsoever this game. As a matter of fact, I think domination is one way to put it, but I think the other way to put it is it was just like it was very surgical, very precise, they executed everything for the most part really well, right? And I'm actually happy that Carson Beck got a couple of those picks out of the way, right? He got a couple, and I know they weren't necessarily his fault per se. I think the first one, he kind of got his arm dragged back a little bit, and so the ball didn't take off as much. And then the second one, there was 2 guys there, and I think Malachi Tony touched the ball by accident. It was going to the other guy. So there was a couple of miscommunication things per se there, but again, just like Cam Ward kind of blew, he didn't look phased at all by those picks. He just came right back and was Carson Beck. What was your take on what you saw this past Saturday for the Hurricanes?
Well, in the post-game interview, Carson even said the first one, trying to get another score on the board, and he just underthrew it, because if he got over that kid's hands, that's 6, because the kid was wide open. Just didn't touch it. And he said that the second one is what you said. He says, if I knew Malachi Tony had a 58-foot freaking vertical, I wouldn't have thrown it over there. He said, Jesus. He says his 7-footers couldn't touch that ball. He said, but he did, and he tipped it up. And but he wasn't fazed by it. I mean, because evidently all it did was prevent them from putting 2 more scores on the board. It didn't hurt them in any way. And yeah, he's cerebral. He's calm. He doesn't get high. Doesn't get low. And listen, like couple of people said, and he even has his handshakes down with the guys. I mean, he says not many quarterbacks are going to be doing that. He says that his relationship with just the entire team. You watch the offensive line; they just do their job. I don't think we're giving the Brockemeyer enough credit, because I'll tell you what, I watched him for 9-10 plays in a row. He just cleaned people out. He's a beast. We don't talk about him much. We talk about all the other guys, and
that's good though, right? When you don't talk about the offensive line a lot,
or the center mostly, yeah,
or the center mostly, right? Yeah, but that's a good thing, right? You don't want you want them to be boring. Don't dominate and not heard of, not nothing. Just go ahead and dominate, do your thing, and that's it. And I feel like that's what.
Well, two things I could say after the first few games. I've been watching a lot of college football. There's not a better defensive end right now than Bain.
Oh yeah,
it's just not. It just can't be. He could be a top 3-4 pick. I was talking. There was like I did last year when the scouts were up there during one of the games, the FSU home game, and I just kind of blurted out because there was like 50 scouts and just me in there. I said, "What do you think about Restrepo?" And they all kind of like, we'll have to wait and see. I said, "What do you guys think about Bain?" He goes, "Top 5 pick." That's all of them said that. So you got him and you got Mauano, and then Beck is going to be in the first round. I mean, it's just, how can you not?
Well, it's funny, right? Because Beck right now is the leading vote getter, or the leading candidate for the Heisman, which is funny to talk about.
81% over the last 2 games.
and
that's not bad.
And then Bain is top 10, number 8 right
Bain's
now.
a beast, and then Mauanoa. And then you got to figure a guy who's just watched his stock soar in the first 3 games is C.J. Daniels.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you that
he's an NFL wide receiver.
Oh, he's an NFL wide receiver, no doubt. I mean, I watch him. I look at him. He's been in there 2 out of the first 3 games in the post-game thing, and just you stand next to him and his body type. And Mario heaps praise on him, saying that he's a guy that every wide receiver on the team gravitates towards, and with their questions and, just route running. And he hasn't had an easy catch yet. I don't think that guy's had an easy catch yet. I mean, he comes up with the craziest catches. Yeah. And you know what? I could bite my tongue a little bit at the beginning. I thought the special teams would be an Achilles with the kicking, but they've done really well.
So far,
they've done what they had to do.
Yep. Absolutely.
I just think that the NCAA is going to, because I look at Keelan and I figure, he's a kick returner, but he hasn't, had but 1 return. I just think they're going to have to make a rule change like they did to the NFL, or move it back to the 20 or something, because.
And I'll tell you what, his development as a wide receiver this year, I know
he's caught 6 balls.
He's a good receiver, but his development, and hats off to Kevin Beard on that also, because obviously he came in with the idea that he was going to be the special teams superstar, which, listen, he still could be, right? If he catches one, you see his explosiveness.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it. But
he doesn't get it.
The wide receiver has been able to get open. He's been able to find, the zones, the soft spots in the zones, catch some really good balls. So I like him as a wide receiver. But I'll tell you what. We'll talk about the wide receivers.
Well, the other thing with him, just in terms of returns, in addition to, it feels like everyone can just kick a touchback nowadays. The other team's not kicking off very often, so
that's true. Yeah.
This isn't last year where, Chris Johnson would get 10 cracks at it a game. Like, we're talking about 1 or 2 because they're just not scoring that much. So,
that's a fact.
So not as many kick return opportunities, which is really where Marion specializes.
This is true. DJ, I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that I went off on Vish in the middle of that game. Not on him.
To me, not on
to
me.
him. Okay.
Key 2-letter word there.
I don't want to settle any squabbles here.
Don't worry. I'll just boot him out. Like, that'll be done.
I went off to him in the third quarter for what I thought was a little bit of sloppy play by the Canes, right? I think the first
third quarter.
Yeah, the third quarter, that first
after the delay, they kind of like went into
that third quarter was kind of sloppy for me, right? You saw the picks, you saw them go 3, had to punt, and I was like, again, the defense was still holding it down, but you still saw them.
They could put on 2-3 more scores, really.
I think so, right? This could have been a 50, 60 point offensive scoring opportunity for the Kings, but it was a little bit sloppy. And then they kind of figured it out again towards the end of that quarter. They scored that touchdown, and then the fourth quarter was just pure dominance again, even with the backups in. What was your take on first of all on that sloppiness a little bit? Do you think it was just because trying to get back into the swing of things, and even with them being sloppy, they still dominated obviously the football game, but it wasn't great execution. There were opportunities, and we were just kind of missing a little bit here and there, and it looked a little bit sloppy. What was your take on that, and then just kind of moving forward towards the end of the rest of that game?
The delay definitely played a factor in it because it's almost like you're playing two different football games at that point for both teams. I mean, you sit there, you wait around, and you kind of, lose a little bit of your momentum, maybe even lose a little bit of your focus. Things kind of calm down. The adrenaline starts to slow down a little bit, and then you kind of have to restart again. I mean, if you think about it, these guys are wired to go play 4 quarters, halftime break, but that's it. And there's, a body clock where, you kind of factor in mentally, okay, I'm going to have a break at halftime, then I'm going to get to go again. And you're not used to necessarily breaking in the middle of the game like that. So, I wasn't really too worried because, having helped out with my college football team, we had weather delays, and it took a little bit for the guys to get going again after the delay because, it's just like restarting everything again and trying to find your footing. So I'm glad that Miami was able to still score points, and obviously, it didn't really hurt their offense too much aside from the interceptions. But by and large, I think they did a decent job responding after the delay, and I mean, you could even see it with South Florida too. I mean, they basically had 2 halftimes, yeah. So that I'm not too worried about that. I mean, that was a difficult sort of thing to stop, start, and then stop again and get going. And I think they made the best out of what was a really difficult situation.
Vish, Blue mentioned this a little bit ago as he was talking about the efficacy of the offense and how we're kind of doing there, and the I don't know if emergence is the right word, but just the play of CJ Daniels, but not only CJ Daniels, but that wide receiver room as a whole has been what we thought would be a question mark, has been potentially the best group on that offense. They are just, it doesn't matter who's on that field. You get the first guys out, the second guys. I mean, look, Josh Moore, an amazing catch for his second touchdown. The first one was obviously that little drag route that he scored on for the first touchdown of the game. But you see his explosiveness. You see his physicalness at 6'4", 6'5", going up there and catching those balls as a freshman. That's the kind of kid that is finally using his body the way it's supposed to be used for a kid that's 6'4", 6'5". But then you throw in, even we've talked about Malachi Tony ad nauseum at this point. But like Tony Johnson had a great game, and you're still seeing Dylan Upshaw come in to the ball game, and some of the other guys. What is your take on really the emergence, the play of this wide receiver core as a whole?
Yeah, no, it's an improved unit over last year, and in particular in the area of blocking. They are getting hat on hat and dominating the defensive backs in front. If you look at that first touchdown run Fletcher had, I think it was the first one, the one where there was the longer one where he juked someone in the open field and bowled over players in the end zone. You'll notice as he's doing that, Marion is just burying someone on the edge there. I think their DB, and just put him on his ass and basically took him out of the play, which is how you score that touchdown. And you start talking about why it's 49 points instead of having to set off for field goals. It's that. You turn those big plays into touchdowns when your receivers block. So I think that's going to get them all on the field. This is all without JoJo, who should be back, according to Mario, again for the 3rd week in a row. Should be back this week. We'll see. DJ and I talked about that a little bit yesterday. We're into that Mario injury report loop. Him and Jordan Lyle are both. They almost made it. So we'll see. But one thing he did say that I think was very probably telling. He's like, look, Jordan Lyle and JoJo, they got banged up. They came into the year a little banged up. They got banged up. They're going to have to earn their spot back on the field. Like, we're not just going to put them back on the field. And if you look at the wide receiver room, again, he's going to practice really well to get on the field because there's 4 or 5 guys that have stepped up and kind of moved ahead of him. So he's going to have to earn his way back on. Same thing with Jordan Lyle. Like, there's no way he's starting in front of Fletch right now. So he's going to have to earn his carries back.
Or Marty Brown for that. I
think there's a potential for Lyle, if he practices well, to get up into that number 2 spot. But remember, he started the year as the number 1.
Yeah.
He's definitely not that anymore. So and he's got to earn his way back in. So I thought that was pretty telling that Mario's basically, these guys are performing, they're playing well. I'm just gonna go back to the guy that we had as a starter in the first game. If they gotta practice really well and earn it. So, and that's a testament to how the depth is, because last year we basically had 3 or 4 guys that Sam Brown on the fringe, and then it was the 3 guys. And if any of them got injured, didn't matter how much time they missed, the second they're healthy, like, get them back out there. There's no doubt about it. But
right. Look,
we got other players.
CJ Daniels gets hurt, and you just keep on moving, keep on going.
No drop off. And that's the machine cranking that you want to see.
Well, which leads me to my next point, Blue, and I'll throw it to you is how good this football team really is. You're talking, we just named it right now, right? CJ Daniels goes down, he gets a little banged up, and that wide receiver room doesn't skip a beat, right? Same thing, Jordan Lyle gets a little banged up, and that running back room doesn't skip a beat at all. God forbid an O-line, let's say, Matt McCoy goes down a little bit, man, you can throw in anybody in there. You can throw in Samson to move over. You can throw in Ryan Rodriguez and Tommy Kinzer. You've got so many opportunities, and it just does not skip a beat. And then obviously on the defensive side of the football, it's unbelievable what we have over there, right? You've got Ruben Bain, arguably the best player in college football at this point. Not even just defense. He's just so dominant that way. Even on the plays that he was getting double teamed, I saw sometimes he got pushed in the back. He got held by a double team. He got held by a triple team. He was still making his mark, even when he was getting down. And then you got to worry about Mezzi on the other side, who if you double team too much, Mesidor is going to eat you up. Or, okay, Mesidor takes a break. You got Armando Blunt, who came back into this game and was dominant in this game also. And then the interior, with the way that David Blay is playing, the way Justice Scott is playing, Ahmad Moten is playing, and quite frankly, that linebacker group has been impressive also. The most impressive to me has been Chase Smith, the way he's been playing football. Now that he's healthy 100%, you got him, and then West is playing really well. Popo's doing all right. Mo Turi, I heard this, 46 snaps, he didn't have a tackle, but he made an impact in that game. And I think that they were kind of, trying to play to
he
his
was a spy.
Yeah, he did a lot of spying. He did. You did notice that. So they were trying to play to his weaknesses at times, which is his side-to-side movement, but he was still able to get to the football a couple of times and redirect the play. So, he still did a great job. And then, of course, that cornerback room and the defensive backs played, for the most part, they played well. We'll get into that a little bit now. But I guess to go back to the question, Blue, is how good is this football team?
It's a good football team, no doubt. They don't have depth everywhere. I think their secondary is still a work in progress. They still get beat, deep a couple of times. That was kind of a fluky one, though, that one that Byron Brown threw. He just threw it up in the air, and the guy happened to be wide open. Although everyone in the press box, no, he was throwing to him. I go, no, he wasn't. He did. His eyes were looking at the concession stand, and he threw it all the way on the other side. To your point at running back, Miami don't have a breakaway back without those guys in there. Fletcher ain't breaking nothing. He'll break 10, 12, 15 yards.
Well, he broke a 38-yarder this time.
Yeah, but it was in close.
It was good to see. It was good to see him break.
I want to see somebody like, they have one true breakaway guy, and that's a guy that hasn't played very much, and and certainly he won the starting position for a reason, because he's an inside-outside guy, and Lyles could break away. I want to see that. I want to see. I said that the other day. They don't have a guy that's going to just take it 70 yards. They just don't. Not now, without him in there. Pringle eventually is going to do it. He ain't going
I
to see
think
much
Pringle could.
playing time in this game, but yeah, it's going to be like a lot like the Notre Dame game as far as personnel that they use. They're not going to use anybody that hasn't been there before. Big game, like you said.
Yep.
Big game.
This-
With a lot. I mean, arguably, this is as talented a team as you're going to find. It's just not together. You look at their recruits. I was looking at their recruiting, just their 2025 recruiting from last year. Their secondary could in 2-3 years be the best in the country. With Hilton
Bryce
Stubbs
Fitzgerald
and
is that
Hanks and guys like that.
Bryce
I mean,
Fitzgerald is that dude.
yeah, he is that dude. He is
He
that dude.
is
But
that
he's getting a chance to play, which is great. And he's getting in there, especially with the short time he's been there. Remember, he didn't come in till late May,
You got to
June.
see a little bit of Amari Wallace in this game too. I thought I saw him on the field a couple times, which was nice.
Mari's going to be the dude. But the thing about Miami is right now they're playing. The play calling is really good.
Yep.
I swore today with a couple of people that I will never mention the tight ends ever. They could not have a goddamn tight end on this fucking team, and I could give a shit anymore because I'm finished with that. I'm finished with it. So
Don't talk like that.
Every other bit.
Right? Don't talk like that.
Listen, it's a bonus when they even look at a tight end, So I'm not even going there anymore because I got crap on this other show about that. So I am not saying anything anymore because and this show got a lot of listeners and it gets back to people and that's what happens. So, but anyway, other than that, DJ, shoot, you might as well just leave the goddamn show because I'm
gonna throw this to you, man. How good is this team? Number one, and we might as well talk about what they need to work on at the same time. There, kind of just pivot to that also because I feel like there's still it's still a work in progress to get the tight ends involved. I'm not saying that the tight ends are a work in progress. I think they do such a great job of blocking. They're doing their job. And believe it or not, they're getting open. I've seen a lot of routes that they run that they are getting open, but there's 2 or 3 guys open also. So it's tough to really say, he's not looking at them. I think that there's an opportunity there, and I'll get into a little bit something before we pivot to Florida. But what's your take on how good this team is right now? And that's even not utilizing the tight ends as much as maybe we wanted them to.
This team is really good. I mean, and that's probably like a no shit statement, but this team is really good. And, when you look at the offense, I mean, they're firing on all cylinders. And, you have a freshman in Malachi Toney who's only going to get better. You have running backs in, Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyle. And then you have a guy like Shamar Brown. I call him the closer because he always comes in towards the later parts of the game and, does his job. You have tremendous talent, at the tight end position, even if we don't use them. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you have depth on the defensive line. The secondary, still a little shaky, but there definitely is talent there. And I guess the only 2 things that I would say they need to clean up are they still struggle with reading, those sort of bubble screens, and they sometimes get lost in coverage on deep passes with, scrambling quarterbacks. But by and large, I mean, this defense is way better than last year, and I don't think this team is a pretender. I think they're very much for real.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because of Vish. For me, I think the only thing they really need to clean up a little bit is their what's the word I can look for? I don't want to say lack of discipline, but just sometimes their defensive backfield gets caught looking in the backfield, right? Their cornerbacks or safeties.
Awareness, maybe?
Yeah, I guess their awareness, and then they give up a couple of these big throws, and but then they kind of make the adjustment. But this is probably the 3rd game in a row that they kind of let one go. And to be honest with you, sometimes that's going to happen with a team that's aggressive. I get that. Right, a team that's going to flush the quarterback out of the pocket. Everybody's going to get excited. They're going to get a sack, and all hell breaks loose, and they give up a big one. It's going to happen every once in a while. Would you say is there anything really aside from something like that they may need to clean up a little bit, Bish?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Just few too many explosive plays. Like you said, tend to lose men deep a few times. I mean, some of them were just we went zero coverage and dropped the ball in there. I mean, USF is a good team. They're gonna make some plays. They also have a pain in the ass to play against, so that can contribute to some of those. And then they are a run heavy team, so we were necessarily gonna take that away and kind of force them to throw a little bit more. But yeah, need to clean some of that up because Notre Dame also had some long yardage conversions, and those are the ones that like some of those big plays came on 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. Like you can't give up chunk plays on that. Even their touchdown was 3rd and 10 from like the 12, and they throw a bubble screen and get a touchdown. Like that's bad. Like that's not doesn't matter in a game like this. And yes, it was backups and all that, but this is when Mario's talking about we still need to get better day by day. We're not there yet. Those are the things he's talking about. But yeah, no, but these are minor things to clean. This is not last year where hang on for dear life. Because even if you remember, even the games that won comfortably last year, like UF moved the ball pretty well. And they ended up with 17 points. They missed a field goal, and they kept throwing interceptions. But they did. When you look back at that quote dominant start to the year, little misleading when you go like look at it now in hindsight and kind of see some of the slides. You don't really see any of that this year. Even you led the show off mentioning USF last year. Not just gave the team a game for a half, but was really moving the ball up and down the field. And remember, kept making penalties in the red zone and have to kick field goals and all. Like there was none of that in this game. The game was 21-0 or 21-3 or whatever it was. Like pretty much just like that. And it was like this game is way over. Like it's not even competitive. So when that happens and you have multiple delays and all that, you're going to lose a little bit of focus. But I think definitely if the coaches what do we need? We need to clean that up. You can't against better teams that can really cost you. It doesn't matter when you're up 40 points and you blow a 3rd and long and give up a touchdown, but it does matter, when you play better teams. So I think that was what they would say. But I also think, looking around the country, this is the best team in the country. Period. You put them up against anyone, they'll win the game.
I think that they're talented enough to definitely do that. So I mean, now that you see them play a couple of years, I will tell you this. I think what I'm even more excited about is the fact that I don't even think we've seen Coach Dawson bring out half of the playbook. And you see the development. You see the gradual progression of his play calling, right? You saw the Notre Dame game and you saw the Bethune game where in that RPO, Beck did not keep the ball at all, right? Now you saw a little bit of that at USF where he held onto the ball 2 or 3 times and scored a touchdown on one, got a big gain on the other. You saw it a little bit now. So now it's just a little something extra that the teams have to now start preparing for. And I think that's what Dawson is doing such a great job of this year is little by little implementing his game plan, being able to execute it properly, which is going to cause that defense or the opposing team to have to study for a little bit something extra and then not know if they're going to bring out something extra, right, for next game. And I love that about him and his playbook. I think he's able to open up, and he's got the quarterback, he's got the team to be able to do that. And that's the biggest thing, right? You got a guy like Carson Beck who's very cerebral, very precision-like. He's very surgical in the way that he approaches his game, right? He goes through his progressions, throws it off, dumps it off if he has to. Doesn't try to doesn't have to create crazy-ass plays to be able to make something look really good. He's very comfortable in the pocket. He's very comfortable with anything that is being called. He's able to go to the line and read out who the middle linebacker is and make switches and change the play up a little bit if he has to. And I think that's what's great about this offense right now is that Coach Dawson has it just firing on all cylinders, no matter what it is that they're doing out there. And Carson Beck is really making it look easy as a word, but he's also making it look really good, period. And we talked about it, right, Vish? We talked about, all of us talked about it here is that they may not score 45, 50 points. Well, they are actually scoring 45, 50 points. But they're making it look very surgical, like very dominating. It's not super duper flashy all the time. We're going to run it down your throat, or when we're down there in the goal line, we're going to punch it in. We're going to tell you what we're going to do sometimes. We're going to keep doing it. Yeah. 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, boom, we're going to do, and it's very surgical and very methodical. And I love it. I love to see it.
And at the same time, amidst all the creativity, like you just mentioned, Jazz, sometimes, especially in the red zone this season, they're giving the ball a lot more to Mark Fletcher.
Yeah.
And, just pounding it in. Like, everybody knows it's going to Fletcher, but they're just going to, run it down your throat. And I think that was something, the simplicity in those, tight yardage situations in the red zone where there's not a lot of room to operate. I feel like sometimes we relied on the creativity of Cam Ward a little bit too much last year and, didn't necessarily execute the simple things. And I'm seeing a lot more of that this year. And Fletcher had another 2-touchdown game on Saturday, so it's working.
That is the magic of that boring offensive line.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. Let's get into it real quick, Vish. We'll talk about our second sponsor of the night. It's the famous You Break Wheel Fix. Our buddies over there, Mark and his staff. Have you ever run over a pothole so hard your steering wheel shakes? Are you constantly losing air in your tires that you need to keep adding air? Chances are there's an issue with your wheels, and You Break Wheel Fix is your solution. You Break Wheel Fix is Miami's premier wheel repair and restoration company. With over 20 years of experience and located in North Miami, You Break Wheel Fix offers quick repairs for damaged wheels and in most cases can offer free loaner wheels to keep you on the road while repairing your damaged wheels. If your wheels are looking weathered and it's time to freshen up your car, don't replace, refinish those wheels. Their in-house wheel refinishing solutions, such as powder coating, machining, and polishing, will give your car the like new look it deserves. So contact Mark and his staff at 305-748-0112 or on social media at You Break Wheel Fix. That's the letter U, Break Wheel Fix. Mention 5 Reasons Sports and get 5.5% off your next repair. Check them out. It's You Break Wheel Fix, powder coating, and wheel repair. 305-748-0112. Now, as we go into this weekend's matchup, I'm going to say it, right? I think this is Miami's biggest game of the year so far to date. UF comes to town. College game day is coming to town as well, which was a bit of a surprise for me at first because you've got a couple of big ranked matchups. I know Illinois and forgot who they're facing. Indiana. I think Illinois and Indiana are matching up against each other. There's a couple other ones. I think Oklahoma and Missouri, if I'm not mistaken, are ranked. So there's a couple pretty big games out there, and ESPN chose to come to Miami, Florida for the Canes and for the Gators, and so that's either a testimony to how exciting this Miami Hurricanes football team is right now, or the fact that the SEC is trying to, I know the SEC always wants to try to prove the ACC wrong and try to downplay how good their teams are, but teams like Georgia Tech are obviously balling out of control right now, and some other programs in the ACC are looking really good. Miami seems to be one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country, as Vince mentioned here, and they get a chance to face I think, and then again I might catch some slack from even some of my people here in my show, but what I think is a better than advertised Florida Gators team. I think they're a lot better than their record shows. I think they're a lot better than some of their play has shown. And if you look at the stats, first of all, they obviously should have beat that South Florida. They should have beat South Florida, but they made some mistakes. They caused some turnovers. They created some turnovers, and they lost that football game because, again, look, and at the same time that I say that, I also say you got to play a full football game. You have to have the right coaching. You have to write the right play calling. You have to execute. So, I kind of say it on both sides of the coin here, and I'm like, yeah, they're better than they should be, but at the same time, they're the ones that have created this chaos in their record as well, and their lack of focus when it comes to playing, because You're talking about a team that completely dominated. Believe it or not, if you look at the stats, completely dominated LSU the entire game. The only problem is that their superstar Heisman quarterback threw 5 interceptions.
Yeah, jeez.
So we're talking about 23 first downs to 10 first downs for the Gators.
LSU is way overrated. They're not even a top 20 team.
Yeah,
They're really not.
I don't know if LSU is as good as that they're supposed to be either, because out of 5 interceptions and you only have 20 total points. And
I just watched them.
And the offense actually scored 13. They didn't score 20, right? So that tells me 2 things. That tells me I think that LSU is not very good, okay? But also that Florida's defense is pretty good also. I think Florida's defense is – I mean, they've got some dogs. They've got Tyreek Sapp. They've got a couple of guys on that line that are really good. Some of their linebackers are half decent also. I just don't know if they're as well coached. And to be quite honest with you, I think that if you're Billy Napier, if you want to keep your job, number one, you might have to sit DJ Lagway. I mean, the kid is not being developed right now. He's not playing very good football.
Yeah, but he gives you a better chance to win than anybody else there.
Well, I mean, throwing 5 interceptions is not going to win you anything.
I know, but the other guys aren't any better. So.
Well, I don't even know who their backup is, to be quite honest with you. So
yeah. Well, Tramel Jones came in the opening game, but he's a young kid. That's right. Yeah. He's you could take Manning and freaking Nussmeier, and if they even come close to making a ballot for the Hall of Fame, something's wrong. Or for the Heisman, they're wrong.
I think it's been disappointing obviously for Texas.
Nussmeier.
For Nussmeier, I just don't know how good he is. I think they've beaten 2. I think Clemson also was obviously over.
Yeah. They have Georgia Tech will go 12-0.
Hey,
look at their schedule. Yeah, look at their schedule and doubt me. There's nobody that's going to beat them.
I haven't seen their schedule.
They'll play Miami in the ACC title game, and that'll be it. But they're not losing. There's just nobody on the schedule that would even peg the meter.
Well, let's talk about the Gators for a second here. I know.
Yeah, let's not do the Georgia Tech show. We can do later.
Yeah. That's my take of Vish on this Florida Gator team. I think it's going to be it's going to be a brawl. They're going to go at it, right? Number one, they've got nothing to lose right now. They're fighting for their lives at this point. Well, Billy Napier is. But here's the thing, right? I'll tell you this: has he lost his team already? Will this team completely quit on them after they go down a couple of points? Are they at that point now? Are they still? Because from what I keep hearing, I think that a lot of people are very disappointed in that football or on that team are disappointed with DJ Lagway. They're not huge fans of his either. He's obviously been the culprit of a lot of their inabilities to win these football games. But at the same time, look, they haven't given up many points. They've given up only 2 touchdowns total on defense. Now, that also goes into who they've played. I would say USF obviously not very good on offense as we know now. And then LSU looks like they're not a very good team on the offensive side of the football either. But at the same time, holding some of these football teams to 18 points and 13 points really given up in the LSU game. Do you think that I'm maybe overstating it too much, that Florida is a little bit better than we think they are, than a lot of teams they are, than a lot of people think they are, and they're like, oh, Miami's going to just, destroy them, belt to ass as well? Or do you think this is going to be a tough game for the Hurricanes?
Well, it depends on how bad people think they are. I think if you look at the spread, I've seen anywhere from 7.5 to 9.5. That feels about right. Last week was 10 more points than that. That also feels right. We talked about this last week previewing USF. They yacked that game completely. That was not a situation where they got just outplayed and you're like, wow, I can't believe USF is better than Florida. It's like, well, how did Florida blow that? So to your point, yeah, I think they're better than their record. They're not a below. They might end up that way because of their schedule and because they've blown games they shouldn't have, but they're not a below 500. This is not FSU last year. They're not that bad. So yeah, the Canes have to show up and play well, or they're going to find themselves in a game, because Lagway, I think, is getting a lot of the blame for inept coaches that don't really seem to prepare their team well. but there's talent there. There's talent on that offense. There's definitely talent on that defense. And if if they show up for a game, you're gonna find yourself in one. Like, I mean, that's like if he doesn't. I mean, I know it sounds stupid. If he doesn't throw 5 interceptions, they probably beat LSU in Baton Rouge. And I agree, LSU's overrated, but they're also still a top 15, top 20 team. Like, they're not. I don't think they're top 5, but they're good. They're a solid team. Like, so, and Florida looked better than them. Again, you can't pretend like he didn't throw 5 interceptions. He did, and that also dictates some of the game. Like, why was the USF game so low scoring? These games have rhythms to them. When you get into a tight game, you start playing the score, you play the clock, you start doing all the stuff you wouldn't do just in the abstract. I mean, we saw that in our first game, right? It got to the situation where Mario's kind of like, we control the ball here a little bit, we're going to win the game, and you kind of back off a little bit to do that, because that's playing the percentages that's going to actually lead to a higher chance of winning, and I think Florida did some of that as well. But yeah, no, I mean, if they play clean, which is something they've shown no ability to do, yeah, it's going to be, I think, a more competitive game than people would like. But no, I mean, the Canes are just better. It's not going to change the result, but I don't, just listening to Mario, listen to all the coaches and the players, they're not gonna go in there and think it's a cakewalk, because they're not competing against the opponent, they're competing against themselves. They want to dominate everyone for themselves. It doesn't matter who the opponent is.
Yeah.
That's been consistent. It's been clear. Bethune-Cookman, they showed up aggressive right from the opening snap. Like, they don't care, because they're competing against themselves in history. And so whether or not the fans are overlooking UF, probably a little bit, but the players, they're going to go in there. It doesn't matter who's the other team is. They want to kill them. So they'll come out there ready to play and be physical, and they're more physical, and they're better players, and they'll win the game. And better coaching, by the way. I think we're downplaying a little bit, because I think Mario gets a very bad rap as a coach. This team, as a program, is all marching to the same drum. They're locked in. You hear it from every single guy is on the same page in press conferences and media availability. All the coaches are. This whole program is locked in, and they're taking their cue from their head coach, who repeatedly gets minimized in terms of his abilities ridiculously. I'll also say the man is managing the hell out of the clock. And I'm just saying, like, the strategic use of timeouts, the use of tempo to squeeze plays in before the 2-minute timeout, all that stuff is textbook perfect so far.
Starting to figure it out a little bit, right?
Well, I mean, look, we haven't failed to kneel the ball, which is good, but no, but he's no against, and it's not always leading to points, but it's the right play. Even at the end of the half here, I believe that's when Beck threw a pick, but we end up with the ball driving again because he's used the timeouts correctly, forced the punt correctly, and there's plenty of time left. And that was stuff you wouldn't necessarily see last year, 2 years ago. And against Bethune, he did the same thing. And then went no huddle, got 3 plays in before the 2-minute warning.
Yep.
That's excellent clock management for someone that's taken a lot of shit for not doing that well. He's in his rhythm, and the whole program is right now. And I think UF is a solid team. They're more capable of winning this game than USF was, but I still don't think it's going to matter.
Yeah, I still think Miami's obviously a superior team. But Florida has some dudes that I think that if they play a little bit better, then they're gonna. Yeah, I love Rogers' enthusiasm and his.
I mean, I would love it, man.
Yeah, man. Listen, I'm not gonna say yes or no. I'm not gonna freak out either way, but I would. From your mouth to God's ears, my friend. I love it. I love to see that. Yeah, Blue. Your thoughts on this game? What your keys to Miami winning are? Keys to victory, I think, are very simple and probably pretty self-explanatory. But what you think Miami needs to do, to win this game and just and go and get ready for FSU after that.
Yeah, they got to run the ball. Just do what they've been doing defensively. Just, limit the big plays because Florida can make them. Mm-hmm. Eugene Wilson is as good as you get. And so is now they're playing more of the kids too, the younger kids, like Vernell Brown and those guys like that. So got to and they got to run ball. If they ran ball and those guys more in the last 2 games, they'd be 3-0. Their play calling's horrible, but you know what? They've got talent, and they're going to be there right there from start to finish.
What about you, DJ? What do you think your keys to victory here?
Running the football, I think that's important because now we're seeing Fletcher kind of get into a little bit of a rhythm. And also, just trying to create pressure on the defensive line. And I think, and me and Vish talked about this yesterday, a lot of with Bethune-Cookman in particular, and some of these early teams have focused on trying to hold on to the football and stay in the game. That hasn't created a lot of opportunities for sacks up front. And, I think this could be a game where we see the Miami defense and the defensive line really start to pin their ears back and try to get after Lagway. I personally am not sold on Lagway, but I mean, there isn't any doubt that he has raw skill and talent. But, I think as long as Miami continues to run the football and, creates pressure via the defensive line, I think this Hurricanes team will be okay. And that's not to say that these past couple games the Miami defense hasn't been good, because they have, but I just want to see a little bit more of a pass rush. And I think we'll get more opportunities to see that.
Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to execute. Continue to run the football the way you're running the football. Continue to make nice and easy throws. Find the open guy. Stay poised in the pocket. That's on offense. On defense, continues to pressure the quarterback. Cover your assignments. Limit, as Blue said, as Vish said, limit the big plays. In the secondary, I think you might see a little bit more of Bryce Fitzgerald in this game, just because he's probably our best cover safety that we have. He might be one of the best cover safeties in college football right now. That's how good I think Bryce Fitzgerald is as a freshman. The kid's a stud, man. But you saw better play from Poyser last week, okay? You saw Jacoby Thomas probably had his best game that he's ever had as a safety, period, all over the field, causing that fumble, on Byron Brown. He was making some great tackles. You saw some really big play from Jacoby Thomas, which I love to see. And then our linebackers just continue to show up, man. Chase Smith, now that he's healthy, looks like a big-time linebacker. West is obviously starting to play a lot better. Popo, I don't think you saw much of Cam Pruitt this past game, but you'll see some other guys play a lot. And of course, that front four, if they can get pressure on Lagway and make him, do what he does best, which is throw the ball to the opposite team, then I think you can get 2 or 3 turnovers in this football game and make them pay for it, right? And that's the ultimate outcome that we want to see is Miami get Florida to make mistakes, which they're prone to do, get them out of any rhythm that they might try to get, because it's a big game for them also. And if you can break their will early, you've got them. So I think it's going to be a tough football game. I think that as Blue said, I think they're going to go toe to toe and try to take some, give us some of their big punches, throw some haymakers also. If Miami can get out in front and just play their football game, I think we're fine. I think Miami's obviously a much better team than the Gators are, but I think that you got to execute because it's a good football program. And if they play well, they can give us a hard time, but I still think Miami can really can end up beating the Gators handedly. So we talked about how dangerous this Gators team was a little bit. The spread is now, I know it started at -3. It's all the way up to 7.5 now, Vish. Is that right?
Well, I saw 9.5 as the original opening. I've seen 7.5, 8.5. I've seen it move around there. It was never 3. 3 is still.
No, I don't know for some reason. I thought
3 is actually because you get 2 to 3.
That's like how they open, right? It's like 0.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you get 2 to 3 points for being the home team. So if they set it at -3, they're basically saying the teams are even, which is
makes sense.
Not happening. So
right.
Yeah.
Give me your prediction. What's your prediction here, Vish?
Yeah, I think it's not going to be 50. I don't think it'll be 59-13, my guy. But no, I think the kids will win comfortably. I got it 27-10, just a workmanlike performance, just essentially just start to finish, just control the game and win easily.
I like that. Blue, what do you got?
24-21, Miami.
Wow, closer to the expert thing. What about you, DJ?
31-20 Miami.
31-20. I like that. I'm gonna go. I think Miami gets. I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go 28-13 Miami.
Okay.
28-13. I think it could be more than that if Miami gets some of those turnovers and converts them to touchdowns. But I think 28-13 is a solid one for me. That's a good defense that they're going up against. They can score 28 points. I like it. So I was gonna go 34-10, but I changed my mind. 28-13. 28-13. We'll see. I hope they score more than that. That's the whole point. Right? I went 30. Well, what did I go last time? Last week I went 33-14, I think it was, and they went 49. So hopefully this is the same thing, same outcome now. But anyways, yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game. We'll be out there tailgating bright and early, as in when the gates open, because we can't go any earlier. If not, I guarantee you we would be there earlier than that. But Larry is gonna come out and have a few shots of Fireball with us, and
that'll be great.
Some pastelitos or something.
We're getting more prediction in the chat.
Okay.
Mile has 31-17. Slug Bruce, new commenter on the show, 42-16.
All right.
Reminiscent of last year's game. Yeah,
that's right. No Caleb Banks. Yeah, they are missing a couple big keys.
Skrinky Ragbuys.
Caleb Banks, good player too for the Gators. They're missing him, so he's going to be out.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I like that. I love that 42-16 score. That's a nice score.
Yeah.
That'll work.
I like all the scores that have Miami winning by more. That's it. Okay.
I mean, I'd love to see what 59-13 looks like. Just the whole that'll be an enjoyable bye week of just complete debauchery from us if that happens. But
that'd be kind of crazy. But anyways, we appreciate everybody coming on the show. But before we get out of here, Blue, big recruiting weekend.
It's got to be a big recruiting.
You got a lot.
Right? Yes, and I got all the. I
got the list.
Wrote down all the names of all the kids that were there.
Well, who do you got? What do you got?
Don't skirt my ass on this one this week.
Javion Mallory. No, I'm just kidding.
Javion Mallory was there. The kid I told you about earlier, DeMarcus DeRoche, he's a 27 tight end from Cardinal Gibbons.
Didn't he commit?
They've offered him.
Okay.
Amari Stevens was there. Justin Edwards, a linebacker who Miami got from Edgewater in Orlando. Jalen Waters, Jalen Jones. Yes, the Amari kid, DeMarcus did commit.
He did.
So your commitments of Mallory, DeRoche, Stevens, Edwards, Waters, and Jones. Then also Neiman Lawrence, who I got a chance to watch last Friday night for Northwestern.
Big news coming out of Northwestern, right? The quarterback leaving their heritage because Diabell's out for the year.
Yeah. I saw Malik Leonard, the 9th grade quarterback phenom at Chaminade, was there. I saw Peter Pierre as a tight end. Keep your eye on a 2028 kid from Chaminade. Other guys that were there, Tremont Isaac, who's a 2028 wide receiver from Chaminade, stud. They also had the kid that I like, Ron Christopher Gonzalez. He's a big D lineman from Chaminade. They had a couple of kids from MacArthur, one of them, Sherrod Gourdine from 2028. A lot of 28 kids were there, but good 20. Amari Sears, who may be one of the top kids in 2028. He was there. Also, Stephen Moore, who's a linebacker at Miami Central. Got a chance to see who else? Jamari Foreman and Zachary Jones, both of them from Plantation. So you had some pretty good kids out there for kind of it was like an off type of game, but I can guarantee you this coming week.
Yeah, do you know anyone that's on the list for this week?
Coming in? Yeah.
Who is it?
Do you know
anyone that's coming in this week?
I guess everybody.
Or I guess anyone that you think the Canes might be trying to flip from UF potentially that the game might impact.
Well, there could be a few kids coming down, but from that, and Florida's got a really good 26 class. I know FSU just wrote an article about some of the kids they're trying to shake loose. Miami's got a lot of outside the area kids. They do have, it's not like last year, but we'll see. But we'll have a big list for you, nevertheless, next week of all the kids were there.
Not only that, you get an opportunity, like you mentioned, right? If things start going really south for the Gators, you may see some guys defect, and now Miami has an even better shot at landing some of those flips because, like you said, their 26 classes is pretty good also.
Very good. Very good. Damian Juan Manuel put that up. He is going, from what I understand, he's going to play. Cormani doesn't start. What a surprise. What a surprise that one is.
Roger, trust me, you will get.
Yeah, we will remember. We will most definitely shout you out.
Yeah, we won't forget that one, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, Blue, what do you got for us? You got any show and tell for us?
I got a good couple of good.
College game day, baby. Come on.
Huh?
College game day is here. It's gonna be nuts.
I know. Are you gonna go
down there? Do college game day? Are they gonna do it on campus or are they gonna do it at the stadium?
Doing it at campus.
Yeah, no, they have to do it on campus. The stadium's not even open
I think
yet.
we'll have access to that, Vish, if you want to head out there to college game day.
That'll be a lot of good fun.
that early, but good luck.
I was there for the last one.
Yeah, everyone has access just to show up, but I'm not going out there that early.
Well, no, yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after.
This one will take you back to the 1988 season. Brigham Young in Miami.
Oh.
Miami just – go ahead, Vish. I think if you look it up, it was the December 3rd, 1988. Miami was winning 34-3 at halftime, so they should have kicked their butt. But Detmer was the quarterback.
I know. I don't know if we want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about a positive here, right?
Why? They won.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about that BYU beat us.
41-17.
Yeah,
Okay.
Miami crushed them.
Okay, good. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was somebody was asking me if I had that program because there was a guy who's actually on Fox News who was a kicker in that game.
Interesting.
So that's it. Next week I'll try to dig up I have a FSU program.
You got 2 weeks to dig that up because we got.
Yeah, I already got it out. I was looking through stuff today. Also, I had this isn't. I'll save that one.
Yeah, you know what? It's a long off season. Don't burn all your material in the first 3 games.
No, shoot. Today I was looking through stuff and I'm thinking I could pretty much be on the show for 200-300 years and not get everything in that I have. So I got some obscure Rice Miami programs and
wow.
Yes, that's it. But we'll see what happens. Should be an interesting game. I think it'll be I know that I just think that both teams have talent.
I hope it isn't interesting. I hope
it will be.
It's just
I don't know. I'll take it just a complete beat down. I'm good with that. I don't need interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Anyways,
yes, sir.
Thank you everybody who showed up in the chat and the watchers. Make sure you subscribe to the 5 Reasons Kings podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcasts, and make sure you also check us out on Twitter or X, at 6 Ring Canes. We are here every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. You can also catch, I guess it's like a little rewind, a little recap Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock as Vish and DJ break down the game from the night before, the day before. They break it down a little bit before we get into our show on Monday night. Make sure you check that out. Buckets, I know, is doing some big things. They've had to
We're trying again. We're going to try and get Gal on. Third time's a charm is what we told her. So,
oh boy, well,
they Gal Revive on Friday. So,
Buckets obviously does a pretty kick-ass show as well. We've got F1, which is hitting the apex, which I feel like I've gone on complete hiatus here, but I hope to make one of the shows again. You know, life is what it is, but they do a great job. I know Evan does an awesome job. Vish, I feel like Vish is definitely like, he has like 8 heads and 17 arms and 14 legs, and he's all over the place, man.
I mean, if you've seen Indian gods, I'm right on brand, but
yeah. Hey, listen, there is a deity called Vishnu. I learned this the other day. He flies on top of an eagle, Vishnu.
One of the big 3 gods, man. It's
you know what I'm talking about? When I saw
that's what his parents named him after.
Of course. When I saw it, I got so excited. I was like, oh my God, we're in the presence of greatness of a God.
It took you that long to figure that out? Come on.
Shit, man. That was my bad. But when I saw it, I was like, this is awesome. I knew there was something special about this guy.
You said you have 14 legs. Loan a pair to me. Mine are failing me right now. Ugh. Please loan a pair. I'll pay.
We can just give them to you. You don't have to loan them.
Yeah. I mean, please do whatever you need. Mail them up here for crying out loud.
This is going to do our next week's commercial in Indian. So,
that would be awesome, Vish.
That would be awesome.
That would be great.
No pressure.
I mean, I could. So,
Vish definitely knows Spanish better than he does.
Oh, I can't even. It's not even like the letters aren't like letters. They're different alphabet. Like I can't even like. I don't even know where to start.
So when you went over there, you didn't speak at all, or you didn't understand?
Well, there's
everybody speaks English over there too, right?
Well, there's a lot of English, but every state has a different language. There's like 20 different languages over there. The place my parents are from, I can speak very broken and understand some of it, but
wow,
I can't read or write it at all. It's a different alphabet.
Well, I'll tell you this: I just go to Bollywood to check out the little ladies over there because they're pretty fine. I'll tell you that.
I mean, there's a billion something people over there, so.
Oh yeah.
You're bound to find them.
And I feel like I'm taller than all of them, so. I tower
it ain't
over
China,
that
damn it!
It's a short country. I'm towering over that entire place. It was a culture shock when I came back here. I'm like, why are people the same height as me? I'm just seeing over everyone.
Damn it! I need to go back.
If we ever lose Blue in India, we'll know where to find them.
Good. I can tell you that the food is damn.
Food
good.
is excellent. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys. We appreciate it. Nick Chubb just scored a touchdown for the Houston Texans. Wow, look at that. To take the lead. Nick Chubb coming out of nowhere. We appreciate everybody. We'll see you guys on Sunday and on Monday. But let's go Canes. Let's go get that dub. Let's go whoop that ass. See you guys later. Go Canes.
Go Canes.
The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rig Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show.